All right, man. Let's talk about the NFC North Week 1 score around the NFC North. We know what the Lions did. Beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Went on the road. Most people expected them to be 0-1. I expected them to be 0-1. They went there and won a football game. They historically would have found a way to lose. I think we all could agree on that. They would historically found a way to lose that football game. So, but they didn't. Okay, they won it. They went there. Jared Goff played well. They took care of the football, minus the Marvin Jones fumble. Um, um, and they won. So they started off 1-0. Green Bay started off 1-0. They destroyed the Chicago Bears. You had some people saying that the Bears can go from worst to first in the NFC North, worst in the NFL, the first in the NFL, NFC North, excuse me. And obviously that was not the case. Some things to work on. I mean, when you get a new offensive line as well too, you could put five great offensive linemen together, but they only can be battle tested by playing the game. So they had need time to gel with each other or whatever. Defensively, they stripped their defense of all the talent from Khalil Mack to the linebacker that was with the was it Roquan Swift. They had Leonard Floyd over there at one point. They got rid of all they top talent. And Jordan Love, and Matt LaFleur, they got something to prove over there. And I was the only one saying that don't be surprised if Green Bay is pretty good. Now, one game don't mean Chicago can't win a division. One game don't mean Detroit gonna win a division, and one game don't mean Minnesota and Green Bay is or is not going to win the division. That means nothing. That means nothing because Chicago shouldn't be a finished product. Okay, Chicago shouldn't be a finished product. So don't forget that Chicago isn't a finished product. It is not. You know, all these teams should get better. I mean, might get worse. You got injuries and all that type of stuff. And now, you got people saying that maybe Chicago should have picked number one and drafted Bryce Young. Now, Bryce Young had a solid game. He threw some picks yesterday. That's to be expected. Um, I know he scored his first touchdown like a little flare route to Hayden Hurst, and Hayden Hurst tossed the football into his first touchdown in the stands, and the fan was gracious enough to give him his football back. I don't know why he would throw the football in the stands. Maybe he was just feeling good after scoring, but they did come up short to Atlanta. But I like the way some of the things that Bryce Young did out there. But Jordan Love, I told y'all he's solid. He's solid. They wouldn't have been able to want to move on from from uh from Aaron Rodgers so much if they didn't believe in him. So I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's one win. Chicago was the worst team in the league last year. You remember they traded number one overall pick. They didn't have Christian Watson yesterday, so that's a huge. He came on big last year. Um, so yeah, man, defensively, that Van Ness kid made a hell of a play on Justin Fields. Um, they got some talent defensively, and I just think they were always trying to literally just lean on Aaron Rodgers so much. And now, mentally, the defense got to step up. Now, it was a lot of talk about DJ Moore and Justin Fields, and right now it ain't working. Justin Fields was 24 for 37, 216, one TD, one interception. And some people saying he can't throw the football, but I just think it's going to take some time, offensive line wise. And get into some type of rhythm. But he's a really good talent, and and I just think it's gonna take some time. I think it's gonna take some real time for him to figure it out. You gotta understand that it's the worst football team coming in, bro. I mean, so. But Green Bay, they got talent. They've been drafting defense for years, so this shouldn't be no surprise. They took two receivers last year. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. So, not sure who Green Bay got next. I mean, obviously we can make a click and try to find that out. So they're heading to the Falcons next. So that's another winnable football game for them. That's another winnable football game for them. So they heading to Atlanta. And we'll see. Atlanta are not that good. They played yesterday versus Carolina, two teams in transition. They head into the Bucs. So I mean, Chicago could bounce back next week as well too. You know, I still feel a lot of these people gotta prove that they're the class of the NFC North, and uh, and we'll see going forward what happens. But yeah, Chicago got torched, and was Chicago at home yesterday? Yes, they was at home and got beat like that. So they might be headed for another high draft pick once again. You know, and now Bryce Young going to be really good. Then the question gonna be like, oh man, y'all should have took Bryce Young. That's what's gonna come up. But the Bears defense stinks. We knew that. They took all the talent off of it. Offensive line wise, yeah, they put some linemen out there, but then again, they got to build cohesiveness. But Green Bay, I just think that team been leaning on Rodgers too much, and now that they can't depend on one player so much. Now everybody else got to do their job. Everybody else got to do their job. So now that everybody else got to do their job, you know that they might get a full. But we gotta see, man. We gotta see, because we go to Green Bay schedule real quick. Let's go back to Green Bay schedule. Go back to that schedule. So I mean, then you go. I mean, they don't have a hard schedule to begin with. You go to Falcons, they can win that. The Saints, they got the Saints at home. That's winnable. They got us at home Thursday night. We'll see. Um, the Raiders, winnable. The Broncos, depending if their receivers get healthy, they're going on the West Coast swing. Minnesota, the Rams. So yeah, they don't have a hard. Steelers look trash yesterday. The Rams look pretty good yesterday. The chart. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be real interesting, bro. But yeah, man, I told y'all don't count the Green Bay Packers out just yet. I said that. I mean, they know. I mean, for you to sit there and get rid of Rodgers, draft this kid, he got an opportunity to sit in the oven for a minute, and you know, and get ready. I just feel, I seen his talent. You see the arm talent, you see the athleticism. Um, so yeah, I figured he'd be pretty solid. To be honest, I figured he'd be pretty solid. So that's what I figured. But let's talk about this game, man. I mean, Minnesota, bro. I don't know if it was they got off to a slow start. Don't know what their preseason plans were or whatever it was, but very, very disappointing in Minnesota. They blew my parlay, by the way. I thought this was a lot. I know defensively they brought in Brian Flores, but they lost a lot of defensive players, and they look terrible without Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins threw the ball a lot, didn't throw it enough to. Well, Justin Jefferson had 9 yards, 9 touches, catches for 150, but Jordan Addison had a big touchdown. Hawkinson didn't do much yesterday, but he had. I mean, defensively they was putrid. They let Baker Mayfield get down on them, you know, and Kirk Cousins threw an interception. Baker took care of the football. Um, they lost two. Kirk Cousins fumbled twice, and he lost two fumbles. So Kirk Cousins had 3 turnovers. And then you got to remember, it came out that ownership was basically saying that they no longer they not sure they gonna keep Kirk Cousins. They want to extend him past this year because he just he average. He average. He average. He average. He average. There's nothing special about him. So, but that was putrid yesterday. Now, just because they got off on the wrong foot, I don't hold it against them. I don't hold it against them. So, um, I don't hold it against them. So, um, but we're going to see moving forward what they got going on. But I don't know if it's messing with Kirk Cousins' psyche that they didn't commit to him. I mean, he didn't finesse the market more than anybody else in football. Finesse the Commanders and all that. But for you to come in there and turn the ball over 3 times, right? Y'all got rid of Dalvin Cook. Y'all went with Addison, got rid of Adam Thielen. You got rid of a bunch of guys on the defense. You know? So I don't know. I don't know. But that was embarrassing. This game, one game. Remember that one year they embarrassed Green Bay in week 1 of the season. I mean, maybe they just getting off to a slow start, but it's a game you supposed to win. And then Mike said they're gonna start off 0-2. Then they play the Eagles. Eagles didn't look too good in Foxborough, but then again, it was raining in this Foxborough. Then it's Foxborough. So but could be 0-2. They playing the Eagles again. Didn't they play them week 2 last year? And they going to Philly. That might be a Thursday too. Yep, short week. You know, so yeah, they can start off 0-2. But that was embarrassing. And that embarrassed my parlay. I said that's what really made me mad about it. Very embarrassing. But just looking at the outcome of it, I mean, we can't judge the division in 1 week because one injury or one mishap or a defense exposing the offense or offense getting exposed by another defense can do something. But the Lions they really, talking from a Lions standpoint of view, they really got to take control of this. They really, if Minnesota start off 0-2, they got to beat Seattle, start off 1-2-0, beat the Falcons. You got to get the biggest lead as possible. And if you Green Bay, you got a fairly easy schedule so far. So you got to win the games that you supposed to win and stay in the hunt. But I mean, they did play the worst team in the NFL. So they did play the worst team in the NFL. So let's not act like they didn't. But at the end of the day, dude, a win is a win. It's hard to win in this league. It looked like, right now, very premature that it might come down to Green Bay and the Lions. But I wouldn't count Minnesota out yet, but they lost so much defensively in Minnesota. They lost so much defensively, bro. And they are in a transitional phase. They are in a transitional phase. So they are in a transitional phase. So that's one thing to kind of like literally think about is that DeBrian Flores can't cover up for what he don't have in talent. So thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe button. It's the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live or drop video financially. You want to support the channel? Cash App $ CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link in description. Hit the link tree. Hit the link tree. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole nine. Let me know what you girls and guys think in the comment section. Peace. But hey, check out the NFC North playlist, excuse me. But peace.